if you're ever going to create it. Israel is like the big impeder to all of this, not just to them, but to the entire Middle East as well. Um, but yeah, I would ask, what's the difference? What is the difference between someone like in terms of principalities, in terms of ISIS and H group, because they're literally all the same, like literally. I mean, I would show some graphics and videos, but I, I would agree.
So, what you're
So
telling us is every trail leads back to one place.
yeah, the Palestinians, 100% for the most part. I mean, obviously, there's other actors in the region and stuff like that, right? I don't want to, I don't want to be too simple-minded here, but yeah, it's crazy how much their influence. Now, if you ask, now look, if you're going to start bringing this to the Palestinians, what do you think the automatic response is going to be? You could be like, well, the only reason why they were sent there, and this is a result of the Nakba. This is the result of Israel. This is the result of the Palestinian ethnic cleansing and things. Like none of this would have happened if Israel didn't expel them to wherever, to Saudi for Azam, or for Zarqawi to Jordan, and where he ended up going to Iraq, right? Like that's what they would blame. They would basically say that Israel is the cause of all this theism because of the Nakba and everything else.
How close are these ties, or are you talking about like 7 degrees of separation?
They're not that far. I mean, these are primary players, these are primary actors that set the foundations for these groups. Especially when it comes to like the theological framework that allows them to have this type of Islamic jurisprudence, in terms of this interpretation of it come like you know what I find funny, right? Like for instance, Abu Shabab, right? They say there's ISIS linked, and they say, oh, Israel's funding ISIS linked gangs in Gaza. And I'm like, you guys are really that tone deaf, right? Like you guys are not. You guys are basically saying the quiet part aloud. So you guys are admitting basically that you guys have ISIS in your society. Like, think about that for a sec, right? They're like saying, "Oh, you guys fund ISIS," but like, where did we fund? Did we get them outside of Gaza, outside of Palestine? They were inside Gaza. So basically, you're admitting you have ISIS inside of Gaza. Thank you for proving that. I believe so. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I will say this though. You know the famous guy Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi is dead. He
Stop.
died like a dog. You don't
Stop,
remember that?
stop, stop.
You guys remember that? Okay,
Yes.
okay. So Bakar, that guy, right? Baghdadi. He one of his things that he's said on record is that he wants to destroy the man-made borders between Jordan and Lebanon, and also to free Palestine. So when they go and they say, "Oh, ISIS," never tries to help the Palestinians. It's like no, that was always their intention. It was always their intention. It's not like ISIS never wanted to destroy Israel. They're just not that stupid. I mean, they're also in Iraq and Syria. I mean, they have enough things on their plate there when they were doing it. But yeah. Mhm. The problem is that we do have a lot of their, let's just say, supporting proxy cells in the West. That's the issue. There's a lot of people that are still very sympathetic with IS and in the West, and it's yeah. Yeah, bro. I mean, there's Salafist. So obviously we know about like the famous ones, right? There's like PIJ. You have Hamas. You have PFLP, right? Like we all know about these Palestinian factions, resistance factions as they call them, right? But dude, they also have like these Salafi militant groups as well. Like they were responsible. Now I got to give credit to H Group because H Group, was sort of against this, but there was two journalists. There was an American journalist, no, two Fox News journalists that were kidnapped in Gaza in 2007. They were kidnapped by this Salafist group, militant group in Gaza. Now, to credit to H Group, they were against it. They were the ones that saved them. They're the ones like, hey, you have to release these people. This is bad PR, all this type of shit, right? It was H Group that ultimately did that. But and then there was another situation with Alan Johnson, who was a BBC reporter, also kidnapped in Gaza while he was reporting in 2006. Point of the matter is this, right? They do have these Salafist, I guess you can call them ISIS. Like the thing is with like when they say ISIS linked, that doesn't mean that they're necessarily ISIS. They could be linked. You might have done dealings with them. There was a whole story with the Yazidi girl, by the way, too. If you guys remember when there was a Yazidi girl that was trafficked by ISIS into Gaza about like 10 years ago or some shit when she was saved last year.
But
The point
to be fair, ISIS did claim an attack on Tel Aviv in 2022.
there was that, and there was another attack, I think, in like 2017 from like the Sinai. From
Now,
India.
to be again to be devil's advocate, ISIS like to claim a lot of attacks. So
Yeah, I do understand that. Yeah, same with H group too. By the way, H group.
yeah, they claimed the which to be fair probably was them, but they claimed the bus attack from a couple months ago. So
Now, yeah, with all that being said, by the way, like when you want to look historically, and I think even Cynic would agree. There's a guy named Cynic in the chat there. Well, he wasn't really restricted covering. He was taken hostage, by the way. Cynic, like he was literally taken hostage. He was kidnapped. But anyways, but I got to give credit to H group because they're the ones that ultimately condemned it and they freed him and all that type of stuff. So I got to give them credit for that. But the point I'm getting to is that if you really want to look historically speaking, who has probably been one of the most like ruthless terrorism, just in general, when you take a look at abroad, I would say like Fatah, the PLO, back in the day, like back in the 70s, man, 60s, 70s, even going into the 80s, like bro, they were a lot more ruthless, dude. Like they were willing to do like more crazier things. Like they were hijacking cruise ships, they were hijacking planes, they were doing attacks abroad. Like there was the Great Rome attack. There was like they did a lot of shit, especially in Lebanon too. I mean, Lebanon is a whole nother story. I mean, all the Christians that were slaughtered by the PLO. It was a de facto settler colonial estate over there, Fatah and Balad Fatah, as it was known. Not officially, but it just became known Balad Fatah to locals and especially to Westerners as well. We call it Fatah land. But it was, bro. They had checkpoints. They had an entire military outpost. They basically de facto controlled the area. They extorted people. Like dude, it was crazy. It was actually wild what they were doing in Lebanon. So I would say like in retrospect, I think like the PLO and like Fatah back in their heyday, they were like way more brazen, way more riskier, way more like willing to do like crazier shit. But like it's harder today. Like no one, it's harder to hijack planes. It's harder to. There's a lot more security. There's a lot more all this, right? So it's harder for them to do that. But yeah, they used to do a lot of that shit. No, I didn't know that. Yeah, yeah, I know the JDL. They became a terrorist organization though, unfortunately. Oh, the JDO. Okay.
Hey Morgan, congrats on your big PO.
Hi, thank you.
I just have
That's wild, man. That's definitely wild. Yeah, like the PFLP, the PLF, yeah, or PFLP. I don't remember PLF. There's two separate ones. But yeah, like, dude. mm, Yeah, I did. I did. I was there for like half the time, and I missed the second half of it. Well, what I find ironic, well, the KGB doesn't exist anymore. It's FSB today, right? But the playbook is still the same. Like the de facto, like the unofficial name is Zionology. Like that was sort of like the branch of counter, like the branch of propaganda that specifically against like Zion. Like this is where the terms like Zionism is imperialism, Zionism is racism. All of these like talking points that the Palestinians are using today. What I find funny about it all is that for the Palestinians is that even their propaganda, even their anti-Zionist rhetoric isn't even indigenous. Doesn't even come from the land. It's also foreign. But anyways, that's a different story. Where was I getting at with this? What do I think? Yeah, I know. I think the playbook is the same. Yeah, 100%. It's a very similar playbook that they're following. Well, I wouldn't say that they created it. I mean, I don't see any evidence for that they created IS. Mm. Yeah, I mean, it could be. It can always go deeper, bro. It can always go way deeper, bro. It can always go way deeper. By the way, the follow-up guy who for Zahawi when he ended up dying was a Al-Masri guy. He was an Egyptian guy. Well, Masri. Let me make sure he's even Egyptian though. But then again, it also does come back all to Egypt. I mean, Muslim Brotherhood, all of that was very prevalent in Egypt. But by the way, all these guys, right? Like IS, like Al Qaeda. A lot of them get a lot of their, I guess you can say, like foundations ideologically from like Sayyid Qutb. Also from what's his name, Hassan al-Banna. That's another really. I mean, that was the founder of thing. Yo, bring up Mosley for a second. I know Abdul. I know I brought up Azam, bro. Mosley, come on. I actually brought up Abdullah Azam earlier. He was the mentor to Osama.
Guys, the book stops with that guy. Understanding Abdullah Azzam, you're gonna understand Al Qaeda, ISIS.
Yeah,
Everybody was inspired for this man, from this man. He was
yeah,
actually he was financed by Saudi Arabia to wage a war against the Soviet back in Afghanistan.
yeah. The Mujahideen, yeah. But then
Yes,
afterwards,
he was actually one of the founder. He's the one who convinced Osama and Ayman al-Zawahiri, the 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 second man. He was also one of the founder of Al Qaeda, but it was Abdullah Azzam who was in charge.
yeah. And he also got known after the war in Afghanistan. He continued to promote jihadist militants on behalf of other Muslims in
Yes,
another country, and then he became known as the father of global jihad,
yes, and he was
which is
Palestinian.
I know he was a Palestinian. Yeah,
Yeah, Abdullah Azzam.
yeah, he was a Palestinian, which is crazy.
And then everything else just falls into it. Zarqawi, no.
Yeah. But what do you know? Well, Zarqawi was also Palestinian. It says that he was of Palestinian descent.
He was born in a city called Zarqa. It's in Jordan.
Yeah,
Yeah, he could be.
but it says a Jordanian family of Palestinian descent.
Yeah, Jordanian citizen. Yeah,
Yeah, he's Jordanian. By the way, do you know this guy, Al Maqdisi?
yeah. I know Al Maqdisi. Yeah,
Al Maqdisi.
Abu
He was
Muhammad.
the
Yeah, I know who that
he
is.
was the
Yeah.
one that influenced Zarqawi the most. I mean, when they were in jail together.
Yes. Yeah.
And he was also a Palestinian
Yeah. Uh, these
from Nablus, I
people,
believe.
Zarqawi, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, it's a form of Islam. It's called takfiri.
Takfiri, I know. Yeah, they were the first
Okay.
ones to. He was the first one to takfir the Saudis, I
Yes,
believe.
the takfiris. Yes, a very, very one of the most. I mean, the extreme of the extremists. Even the extremist says these guys are very extreme.
Hmm.
They have they were actually an offshoot of something called Salafia Jihadiya. You know,
Yeah,
it's like Salafi jihadism. That's also these are. Yeah, if we give them from a scale, if you say takfiri is 10 on 10, these guys probably 7 on 10, Al Qaeda, I think it was a time when Al Qaeda said that ISIS was too extreme.
yeah.
They, I mean,
Well, they were a splinter group, right? So Zarqawi.
oh, they were just split. Yeah, exactly. The Zarqawi is the Zarqawi is
Yeah,
Tani
he was
was
Al Qaeda
having,
member. I mean, he was a
yeah,
top member in Iraq. He was a
yes,
leader in
yeah,
Iraq. But then they
yeah,
had a schism, right? So there was I guess, a disagreement or
yes,
something, right?
yeah,
And they
yeah.
ended up splitting off. But yeah, this is a Makdisi, Palestinian writer. Yeah, additionally, he is recognized as the mentor of Jordanian jihadist Zarqawi, who served as the initial leader of Al Qaeda in Iraq. Due to the latter's declaration of takfir against all Iraqi Shiites, al-Makdisi advocated for targeted killings of Shiites instead to prevent al-Zarqawi's approach from becoming counterproductive. Yeah, so he was like really big on like getting into that, and
Yeah,
then of course the grandfather of it, or at least for for Osama bin Laden
this
was
is it. Yeah, this
yeah.
is
Well,
I read a book that was many years ago. It was called The Warriors of the Prophet. Yeah, I don't know if you've heard about it.
no.
It's an old book. It explains this book was actually written before even Al Qaeda was known to the world,
Mm-hmm.
and then it starts from Hassan al-Turabi in Sudan,
Mm-hmm.
how himself he courted the jihadists, and eventually he invited Osama. Invited Osama because Osama, when he left Afghanistan, he went for just for the period until the Iraqi war started, and they could test him off. Actually, it's because the American and were establishing bases in Saudi Arabia, and that he didn't like that. Then he
Yeah.
decided that he wanted to go. Then he ran to Sudan, and then he was protected by Hassan al-Turabi, and then it kept on.
Yeah. So
Mostly, it's a pleasure to be on the panel with you.
yeah, I know. I love Mosley.
No, me too.
Mosley's amazing.
Thank you.
So this guy right here. So by the way, he joined the Muslim Brotherhood in the 1950s. Azam, Abdullah Azam, and yeah, I mean a lot of his stuff it comes from like you have to understand Hassan al-Banna, right? I mean he was the founder of the Muslim Brotherhood. Also, you need to kind of understand the thing with like Sayyid Qutb. So Sayyid Qutb, I was either Qutb or Qaradawi, one of them. You know how like the
Oh,
Palestinians
Sayyid Qutb. Sayyid Qutb, this is it. That's like
yeah, this guy.
all of them. Like they're all like the more you keep going north, this is it. Then it's a Sayyid Qutb because of his. They never when they every time they interviewed Osama or Abdullah Azzam or anyone, they've always quoted Sayyid Qutb.
Yeah.
It was his literature that actually invented today's this phenomenon, the tea phenomenon.
Yeah, and by the way, I think he was also the one that said obviously Israel needs to be destroyed. You can never make peace with
Yes,
Israel.
yes.
Who and I think it was either Qutb or Qaradawi, one of the two who coined the term Zionist entity. Like you hear all the pro-Palis say that the Zionist entity, the Zionist entity. This comes from
Yeah.
this. This is where they come from.
I'm not sure who said it. In Arabic, it's called Al-Kiyan al-Sahyuni. I'm not sure who said it.
Him
Yeah.
is Zahuni, yeah, I know, but
Al-Kiyan al-Sahyuni. That's what
I think it's either him or Qaradawi. Which, by the way, you guys also need to know who Qaradawi is, right? So Qaradawi, he was in Qatar. Qaradawi, Yusuf Qaradawi, this guy, Yusuf al-Qaradawi. He was Muslim Brotherhood. He was a scholar. He was a sheikh. He was the one, by the way, this is Hamas's main scholar. This is where they get a lot of their religious jurisprudence. This is where they get their Islamic interpretation for how they go about things. Like we asked this question, right? Like it's haram to unalive yourself, right? But yet H group does boom boomings. It's haram to go and unalive women and children, but yet H group does it. Like how are they doing this, right? Are they going against Islam? Because a lot of them go and say, oh, but that's not true Islam, right? Like you'll get some more of the moderate Muslims that's against it. And by the way, a lot of the Muslim world has come out and condemned Hamas. But where are they getting this? It's Qaradawi, especially during the second Intifada, who went and gave the fatwas that said, number one, that boom boomings is a legitimate form of martyrdom. That's a legitimate form of resistance. That a wife doesn't even need to ask the permission of her husband in order to strap on a vest and go and unalive Israelis. He's also the one that gave the fatwa that there is no innocent civilians in Israel, meaning that they're all legitimate targets. He called them all a militant society, and so all of them are legitimate targets. That's where Hamas is getting this from. It's from Qaradawi. And I also have a quote from Ismail Khania himself back in 2012, 2013, giving praise that this is our sheikh. This is our sheikh. This is our beloved teacher. This is our beloved scholar.
Yeah, the biggest prostitute of them all.
So Qaradawi was another really big influence for them. But yeah, look, it's just crazy where it's like when you look at all roads, like all roads definitely go back to thing. And the crazy thing is I was doing a lot of research, especially in Lebanon, right? Like I've been really focused on what happened with with the Palestinian. I call it settler colonial violence because it really was, bro. They ended up setting up their own colony called Fatah land. You guys know about Fatah land? Bilad Fatah? No? No, no. Let me show you Bilad Fatah. So Bilad Fatah was a hold on. I'll show you. I'll show you. So this is Bilad Fatah. The Black Land. Oh, that's crazy. That's wild.
We did that also in Morocco, like south of Morocco, like Mali. Mali used to be called the Sudan, the French Sudan. But something happens and that's it comes
Yeah.
from Sud.
Ard Fatah. Yeah. So, what does Ard mean, by the way, Mosa?
Ard means land. Ardul
Ard.
Fatah. Ardul Fatah. That's what
Ardul
it says in
Fatah.
Arabic. It
All
means
right.
the land of the land of conquest.
Land of conquest, huh? So this was it. This was Bilad Fatah or Art Fatah. Art Fatah was over here, right? And this literally became like a settler colonial project. So what's crazy about this, right? From 1969 to 1982, I wasn't aware of all the violence that they actually did and perpetrated. Did you know that they had checkpoints? So I was on a panel and these Janine actually was saying, why does Israel have a right to have checkpoints? I'm like, why do Palestinians have a right to have checkpoints? She's like, what do you mean they don't have checkpoints? I'm like, oh, of course they do. They have checkpoints in Lebanon. What are you talking about? Here, let me show you Palestinian checkpoints in Lebanon. And by the way, from what I heard, there's actually in the refugee camps they still have checkpoints. Look at this. This is Lebanon. Checkpoint, Palestinian checkpoint. Yeah. No, it's Palestinians.
I
Yeah,
don't look.
at the time, well, back then it was obviously Fatah and the PLO that were controlling it. But bro, just so you can see how bad it was, okay? So usually the bad stuff happened during the Civil War, and the Civil War was bad, bro. Like everyone talks about Sabra and Shatila, which came way later. This is what the Palestinians used to do in Lebanon. Palestinians from Tel El Zard camp attacked the Wana neighborhood in East Beirut, unaliving tens of civilians. This is in 1975. September 1975, the Christian village of Deir Ashash in the north of Lebanon was attacked with the slaughter of 3 elderly priests and forcing inhabitants to leave their home. The next day, September 11th, the Christian village of Bet Malat was attacked, leaving 7 people unalive while 10 were kidnapped. 9th of October, the same year, the Christian village of Tel Abbas in the northern Ar region was attacked with 15 people unalived. A local church was set alight. 30th of October, the village of Nema was attacked and tens of civilians were killed. So this is the big one, right? In January, the Christian towns of Damour and Gia, the Damour massacre, by the way, south of Beirut was attacked. Initially, 50 civilians were slaughtered in Damour, among with the entire Canaan family. Executions of people followed, and the cemetery was excavated. More than 300 inhabitants were unalived, and the churches were vandalized. Women were raped, and little children were hacked to death. By the way, if you really want to see how bad this was, by the way, this is just so you guys can see, because this is crazy stuff. This is what happened in Lebanon, bro. This is what happened in Lebanon, bro. Tell me if this looks familiar to you.
Disgusting.
Oh, dear Lord. Oh, my gosh.
This was in Lebanon. Entire family slaughtered.
What does that look like to you? Yes? Sadly.
That's what I'm saying. Does it remind you of anything?
And Lebanese, what they doing about this right
Yeah.
now?
They're
What they
Christians.
saying?
By the way, this is them executing a father. This is them executing people on a wall. This is a bunch of women who were shot to death after being raped. Just dead bodies all over the place. It was a disaster. The American Lebanese League, by the way, even during this time, there was an article they wrote. It's called "An Orgy of Atrocities," In 1974, Lebanon was occupied by PLO terrorists who had been expelled from Jordan after failing to overthrow King Hussein. During these 7 years, they committed an orgy of atrocities and destruction against women and children, churches, and grave sites. A sweet and lovely land was ravaged. Those who dared to oppose the PLO were unalived. Homes and farms and villages were pillaged. Lebanese governmental authority was defied and ultimately destroyed. In collusion with the Syrian occupation army, the PLO made war on the people of Lebanon. From 1975 through 1981, the toll among civilians was 100,000 unalived, 250,000 wounded, countless thousands made homeless, 32,000 children were orphaned, and the world was silent.
Yes, and the world still silent. You know, I met Lebanese family from Israel. These people moved to Israel, living there since then.
Yeah. By the way, there's an article you guys can check out. I highly recommend. It's called Lebanon's Long Forgotten Massacre. And this is what the PLO did, man. This is what the Palestinians did in Lebanon, dude. And I told them, I'm like, look, this is settler violence. The Palestinians, they came, they settled there, and they just perpetrated like some of the worst violence on people. Look, whole family just unalived.
How does Lebanese government let this even happen?
Because I'll tell you how it happened. Because it's not that they were fighting it. Do you know what's crazy? Do you know how many Lebanese groups there were, like Gardens of the Cedar, right? These were Maronite groups that were fighting off the PLO. The PLO came like settler colonialists, right? So they basically came with, they came and captured this land over here. This was there. They had checkpoints, everything. It was a state within a state, ultimately speaking. And then they would go into the Christian area, there was the pink. They would go into the Christian areas and do all these massacres, which is wild.
Who armed them? Who armed them?
The
PLO?
Syrian in Lebanon. In Lebanon, the PLO was armed by the Syrian, and in the Black September, they were financed and armed by the Egyptian. Technically, the Egyptian had something to do with what happened in Lebanon. It was a kind of the legacy of Gamal Abdel Nasser.
Well, it was the Cairo Agreement of 1969, right?
Yeah,
There was an
yeah.
agreement that they had that they were allowed to be refugees there and allowed
Yeah.
to settle, but not to set up do terrorism, not to set up checkpoints, not to basically say a state within a state. Like they literally occupied Lebanon. Guardians of the Cedar was one of the the Maronite Lebanese groups. You know what one of their slogans was? Look, this is one of their. Can you read that for me, Moses?
على كل لبناني أن يقتل فلسطينيا. Every Lebanese must unalive a Palestinian.
Yeah, it is a duty for each Lebanese to kill a Palestinian.
These people not even Palestinian.
What year is that?
You
This
know,
is in the 1970s.
Wow.
This is during the Civil War.
Nathan, I've always wondered something. Do you know how Gamal Abdel Nasser died?
No, how do you die? I don't
Okay,
even know.
you know his last days, he was actually having an argument with Yasser Arafat because Yasser Arafat failed in Jordan. He failed, I mean, completely. It was a disaster for his pan-Arabism. While he was having a heated argument with Yasser Arafat, something maybe he just he lost it. Then he asked for a cup of tea just to relax. Who made him the cup of tea? It was Anwar Sadat. Usually Anwar Sadat never makes the tea. When
Right.
Anwar went to the kitchen, he asked the cook to leave.
Wow.
Then the cook left, Anwar made the tea, and eventually he died.
And he got
He had a stroke, he died. There was actually many lawsuits between the families, back from the family of Anwar Sadat and Gamal Abdel Nasser. I mean, it's not a conspiracy. The Gamal Abdel Nasser family believes that had something to do with it. Then they got sued. There was lawsuits in England, in Egypt. Yeah, you can look into it one day. Only because Yasser Arafat failed in Jordan, and that cup of tea, Gamal Abdel Nasser had it while Yasser Arafat was in the room.
That's
What
crazy.
happened? Nobody knows what happened.
Wow.
Only Anwar Sadat or Yasser Arafat knows what happened.
That's crazy, man. That is wild. But even misinformation, dude. Like, bro, do you want to see something crazy? So everyone can chalk it up to there was a civil war, right? Okay, great. But look what happened before the civil war. So this is from a Lebanese army intelligence report from 1971, 1972, right when the Palestinians came. Look at all the different violations and offenses that ended up happening. Carrying unlicensed weapons and explosives, shooting and pew-pewing gunfire at different locations, attacks and threats to unalive civilians, rocket attacks on Israel from Lebanese territory, infiltration into restricted military areas, attacks on army and internal security, training and arming of Lebanese citizens, arrests and kidnapping of civilians, public displays of weapons, armed robberies, shooting at Lebanese military targets, establishing checkpoints and searching cars, premeditated unaliving of civilians and military, refusals to stop at army checkpoints, occupying houses by force, unlicensed buildings, collecting contributions by force. By the way, they occupied other people's houses. So anytime these Palestinians say, "Oh, you're kicking people out of their houses," like, you did the same thing in Lebanon. Attacks on Lebanese government authorities, bombing and using of explosive devices. Look how many different violations. 787 in total.
Very good.
Years.
Very good information. Very good information.
This one is from the Discourse of Palestinian-Israeli Relations by Sean. It was a book that was written in 2010. He got it from his source, a Lebanese Army intelligence report that dated back to 7th of March, 1973. Which is crazy.
How has all this information been buried? I know it's a spider web.
Well, it's not buried. It's there. It's just nobody talks about it. Nobody's shining a light on it. That's all.
The Lebanese are the ones who should be talking about this first of all.
Yeah, I know, dude. By the way, do you know Robert F. Kennedy was unalive by a Palestinian too? RFK.
Sirhan, Sirhan.
Saran, yeah.
Yes,
I didn't even know about this until recently.
Yep.
In 1973, they unalived 3 American diplomats, or actually 2 American diplomats, 1 Belgian, in Khartoum. I believe this is in Sudan. Yeah, no, it's crazy, man. It's
What
crazy.
baffles me sometimes is like the early founders of the PLO were actually Christians, and also the Lebanese Christian. At first, they were anti-Israel. We don't know why, but nobody. But the thing is, I think they learned a lot because they had no clue that the Palestinian cause will be Islamized. It will become then that actually it flipped against them. Same thing also with the Ba'ath Party, the BAATH party, the party of Syria and Saddam Hussein. That also was actually founded by a Christian guy. His name is Michel Aflaq. And that party was founded on the basis actually to root out Israel completely from the Middle East.
Yeah.
Isn't it true that it's Saddam Hussein? He really respected Assyrian people.
It's crazy what they've done, man. And by the way, even when you look at, like, I have a whole list of just different attacks that they used to do. I can't, but always bring this up. By the way, if you run into like a Palestinian, a Lebanese, like pro-Pali, just tell them, bring up the Guardians of the Cedar, where their slogan was, "It's the duty of every Lebanese to unalive a Palestinian." And this is a Christian group, bro. That's crazy.
But what you saying now, it's from Lebanese thinking, it wasn't going to be Islamized. I think same thing is happening today. You're seeing a lot of resistance from Lebanese Christian and Palestinian Christian people. It's same thing over and over. It's happening today, and they're very anti-Israel. Say very disgusting things about Jewish people.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, by the way, there's also a book. I'm in the middle of reading it. I haven't finished it yet, but what mostly was saying about Abdullah Azam, the guy who created the foundations for Al Qaeda, obviously, which then led to ISIS, Al Qaeda, and Hamas. Concepts of jihad, and what does this mean mostly?
When you blow yourself, to martyr. Al-istishhad means to go for martyrdom.
Oh, okay. So basically, go unalive yourself.
When you watch Arabic channel, when someone blows himself, they don't say that that person blew himself or committed the soothings. No, they always say istashhada, means that person has actually committed a martyrdom for the sake of Islam.
Wow.
It's almost like all these Arabic channel, they never condemn actually the practice. This is all happened throughout the whole time. Every time someone blows themselves in Israel from 2006, 7, and I've never seen anyone say this is a crime. No. They say istashhada fulan, means this person, istashhad means, that's for the sake
Wow.
of Allah.
Yeah, that's wild, man. That's crazy. By the way, if you guys want, I haven't read this whole thing, so I can't really comment on it. I'm still in the middle of reading it. It's a paper. It's about 15 pages long. It's called Abdullah Azam, Al Qaeda, and Hamas: Concept of Jihad and how do you pronounce it? Istishhad.
Al-istishhad.
Istishhad.
Istishhad, yeah.
Istishhad.
Yeah. So
So you guys can like take a look at the screenshot if you want. Yeah, you guys can check that out. I have all my sources, by the way, too. I collect all my sources. Oh, by the way, yeah, another really big thing. Actually, no, yeah. Here's another thing that people don't talk about. So we know about after the PLO, right? We know about all the different attacks that they did in the 70s, the 80s. Like I have a whole list. I didn't even touch Israel yet, by the way. 70s, 80s, 90s, by the way. The 90s was also a hot time. Funny enough, ironically, during the peace process, theism went up. It didn't go down during the peace process. When they keep bringing up Rabin, you guys on alive Rabin. But you guys have to see all of the look, I do not in any way, shape, or form condone what happened to Rabin. I don't. I think that was a crime. It was horrible. I condemn it. Full stop. But the thinking was from this right wing group in Israel was that they were seeing the T attacks that were happening from 1993, 1994, going into 1995. They believed that this was bullshit. That this was going to put Israel in danger. They basically try to invoke Pekuah Nefesh that, hey, listen, if this is going to save Israeli lives, then it's okay to do it. And then they went and unalived the Rabin. I still don't think that was the right thing to do. Obviously, I condemn it. It's a crime. We don't do that. But the point of the matter is that the whole talk about Rabin, all of it, they were going like during that time from 93, 95, 96, 97, even after Rabin, T attacks were going up excrementally, by the way. There was so many bus attacks. This is when, do you guys remember the engineer? Yahya Ayawa or whatever his name was? This guy. You guys remember the engineer? You know how Mossad got him? Engineer Yahya.
yes.
This guy. Yahya Ayash. Yeah.
Yeah, I
You guys
remember.
know this guy? You guys know who this guy is? Facts?
I don't.
This is H group. His name was the engineer. That was his code name. His code name was the engineer. He was extremely infamous because he was the guy that was creating the boom booms that was like doing a lot of damage in Israel, like in terms of like bus attacks and things of that sort. And it was so hard for Mossad to get to him. They couldn't find him because he kept relocating. He kept using a different phone. This is in the 90s, right? 93, 94. They had a really hard time getting to him. Just to show you how bad it was with this guy. He was Hamas, by the way, too. Here you go. Afula bus bombing. This happened in April of 94. This ended up unaliving 8 people, injured 55. Yeah, so like this was bad. There was this bombing that happened. Then there was the Hadera bus bombing, which was also pretty bad. The bus station suicide bombing, which as a result unalived 5 civilians who were killed and 30 were injured. The attack came exactly 1 week after another Hamas attack in Afula. Like they were happening so frequently, all these bus attacks. Then there was another, the more bigger one, I believe, was in Desengrove, the Desengrove street bus bombing. Was a Hamas suicide attack on a passenger bus driving down Desengrove Street, Tel Aviv in 1994. At the time, it was the deadliest S-bombing in Israeli history and the first successful attack in Tel Aviv. 22 civilians were unalived and 50 were injured. This is before the second Intifada, by the way. The attack was planned by H Group Chief Yahya Ayash a week before the signing of the Israel-Jordan Treaty of Peace. Go ahead, Moses. Yeah, this was a really bad attack. Anyways, yeah, go ahead, Moses.
Yasser Arafat was behind it. He gave the order, it kind of he blessed it,
You
But
blessed it,
Yahya,
yeah.
it's Yahya Ayash to get him. Actually, they had to get to his father, and that's how they got to him.
So this is what they actually know. It was the friend's father or uncle, actually.
Yeah, because one of them was a gambler, and that's how they
Correct.
reached to him. Yeah, yeah. So
So
if I
Mossad
remember.
was having a hard time getting to him to unalive him. Like it was so hard. So what did they figure out? They figured out that he receives a burner phone, right, from his friend, his close childhood friend would always. So he would relocate and also change his phone every time he made a phone call. So it was hard to triangulate him. Eventually, they found out that they couldn't get to the friend, but the friend had an uncle, and the uncle had like a degenerate gambling problem, whatever the case may be. Some he was in hot water. The Mossad saw an opportunity. They went to him and said, "Hey, look, we can get you out of your situation. Not only are we going to get you out of your situation, we will give you a passport to a European country, and we'll pay you money. Right? We'll give you like $100,000 or whatever the case may be." And but they said, all we want you to do is the phone that you provide for your nephew that goes to give it to this guy. We just want you to bug it. That's it. We're gonna bug it and give it to him. They didn't bug it. They put a bomb in it. By the way, that's why when the whole situation happened in Lebanon with the pagers, it reminded me of the situation. This wasn't new. This is not the first time Mossad did an operation like this. By the way, let me bring him up once more. This guy, just so you guys can see how he ended up dying. His assassination. He began to cooperate more closely with Shemet. Met with Shemet operatives. Yeah. So his father's the one that called him. So what they did is they bugged the phone with a bomb. They didn't know. They thought it was a bug. The uncle thought it was a bug, but they put a bomb in there. Then they gave it. The uncle gave it to the nephew. The nephew then took it to this guy. And when he was on the phone and Mossad heard that he was speaking with the father, the moment that they heard his thing, they detonated the bomb and it blew up in his face while he was speaking on it. And that's how they got him. And the line went cold. That was like a very gangster mission by Mossad, by the way. But they had to. This guy was causing so much havoc and yeah. Yeah, his 111. Yeah. Yeah. This guy knows the engineering. Yeah. This was a good, really, at the time it was like, wow, Mossad was able to do that. It's like, yeah, Mossad was able to do that. It was a big deal. And he was a big target, by the way. Huge target. And he was very hard to find. But they did it. They were able to get to him, which is great. They outsmarted another one of them. So yeah, man, it's crazy. Like, dude, the attacks that these people like, dude, I'm making a whole list. This is in 2002. A Palestinian team broke into Ochayon family's home in Kibbutz Metzer and unalived Revatal and her two children, Matan and Noam, just in cold blood. Like it's just oh, Marwan, bro. Marwan is big time, bro. He's big time stuff. So Marwan Barghouti here. Let me show you Marwan.
I
He was
don't think I don't think he's popular among
no, not
the
Hamas.
religious faction of
No,
the Palestine. Not popular among Hamas, but they know Israel won't release him, but they just figure let's not try and see.
yeah. He is yeah, but he's big time. He was responsible for a lot of the unaliving in the second Intifada, I believe. Second Intifada. He was a big political leader. Yeah, this is him. Yeah, so Marwan, he wasn't an expert in moving. He wasn't an engineer himself. He was more the guy that was given the orders. He was the one that was mostly organizing it.
It's a big family. You know what the word bargut means in Arabic? Means
Mm.
insect, a bug.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not kidding. Bargut. If you write it in Arabic, that's what it means. It's just strange how they have that funny last name, huh? It's like he's actually Marwan the Bug, but yeah, but that's his real last
But
name. Very
Hamas doesn't
common
like him
last name.
though. They want to release him, but I heard that they wanted. By the way, this is the guy that they're calling to make the next leader of the Palestinians. By the way, they say, "Hey, release him. He'll be our new leader. He's more moderate."
Not Hamas doesn't want him. Hamas, you
No,
have
Hamas wants to
to,
execute him.
yeah, that's just like the secular faction of Palestinian, but he's not really that popular. You know, because the whole Palestinian cause has been Islamized. Now it's an Islamist cause, and Marwan Barghouti is not part of that.
But mostly I would also argue that it was always an Islamic cause. Even like the War of 1948. I like to call it the Jihad of 1948, right? Because that's kind of what it was. When you look at some of the rhetoric and propaganda that was spread across the Arab world at that time, it was very Islamic in nature.
Yeah, they had names. I think they had Fidaiyin at that time.
Ooh, thank you for bringing up the Fediyin.
Fida, and then it became, and I think before there was called Muqawimin, and then they keep changing. Now it's called Mujahideen.
So before all of that, thank you for bringing up the Fediyin. This is a list of attacks against Israeli citizens before 1967. So you'll see that most of these infamous T attacks came after the 6 Day War, and then after, especially also after the Yom Kippur War, where they basically stopped conventional warfare and they just went to straight terrorism. And that's what we know, right? This is when the PLO obviously became prominent and all that type of stuff. But before the PLO, before Fatah, before PFLP, before H Group, you had the Fediyin. Nobody talks about this. This is important. We had the border conflict. This is during the 50s. This is before PLO and all that type of stuff. You had these Fediyin groups from Jordan, Egypt, both they're Palestinian, well, if you want to call them Palestinians, but from Jordan, from Egypt, and from Syria, and some from Lebanon. They would go and look at every single T attack that they would do, where they would go into kibbutzim. They would go and ambush, and they would just start unaliving people, like this Scorpions Pass massacre. This is in the 50s, guys. And bandits ambushed the bus traveling from Eilat to Tel Aviv and opened fire at short range when the bus reached the area of Melal Akrim in the northern Negev. In the initial ambush, the bandits unalived the driver and wounded most of the passengers. The bandits then boarded the bus and shot some of the passengers one by one. 11 passengers were unalived in this attack. Here's another one. In October 12, 1953, a Palestinian Fediyin, so what it was, the Fediyin squad, threw a grenade into a civilian house in Yahud, unaliving a woman and her 2 children. This is in the 50s, bro. This is before PLO. This is all before this bullshit.
Fida'i means fida fi fida'illah, means in for the sake of Allah.
Yeah.
That's in Arabic.
Yeah. So this is look at this. This is a long list of every T attack that they were doing.
Yeah, it was. This is like I've always said it. The elephant in the room, even today, is always Egypt, because Gamal Abdel Nasser had some agenda, is to take over the region. He couldn't do it himself because he didn't dare to face the British, and he tried in '56, and luckily for Eisenhower, got him off the hook, and then that's what he kept. That's what he used. That's what he created this character named Yasser Arafat.
By the way. Yeah, there's nothing new under the sun, right? But yeah, go ahead.
No, that's amazing. Like, I love this live. Like, I'm soaking this all up. Is there any trail back to the Grand Mufti?
Yes, actually. 100%. 100%. And I'll actually touch on that in just a moment.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to show you guys something else too. If we're gonna say, oh, but this is because Israel, that was because of the Nakba. What about right before the Nakba, before there was any expulsion or displacement of Palestinians? And I'm talking immediately. I'm talking like from 1947. Forget about 48. Just in 47. I can even go further back, right? Like nothing's changed. Like they make these. The problem is with the Palestinians is that they think that the effects of the conflict is the cause of the conflict. What do I mean by that? They believe like, the occupation and the wall and the checkpoints and all these, the blockade. That's the reason for resistance. That's the reason for the violence and the terrorism and all this other stuff. No, it's not. Those are the effects of the conflict. That's not the cause of the conflict. The wall and the checkpoints happen to be an effect of what happened because of Arab homicidal aggression towards us. Now, what I want to show you, this one's also really cool. Hold on. Let me find the photo I'm looking for, or the article I'm looking for.
I just want to add this quick. The Grand Mufti, he lived comfortably until the 70s. I think he died in Lebanon.
Lebanon or Syria, I think it was.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and he was in Egypt prior to. So this is between the 30th of November to 11th of December, right after the UN partition plan. Look how many attacks were done on Jewish villages, kibbutzim, just ambushes, just going and unaliving. They started attacking us so much so that, by the way, the Lehi and Urgun came out publicly and said, "Hey, listen, we warn you, stop. Like, we want peace. If you continue doing this, we won't have any mercy on you, and we will liquidate some of the cities." But yeah, these attacks here, by the way, especially on the road to Jerusalem, because this is important. These roads to Jerusalem, because there was 100,000 Jews that were basically cut off. They were caught captive. They were blockaded in Jerusalem. And the whole point of like Plan Dalet was to create an offensive for us to break into that siege. And if there was any hostile, villages, because the majority of Haganah's convoys to get to the city to provide supplies to the people in Jerusalem, the majority of them were attacked. The majority of them were stopped. The other like we were getting a lot of losses, bro. So when Plan Dalet came around, they said, listen, if we're on these convoy routes and there's these villages like Deir Yassin and whatever the case, clear out the villages so that way the hostile population is not there and we can have safe passage for our convoys, right? It's no different than like today, like in Gaza, we say, in Jabalia, we need everybody to clear out of Jabalia. It's no different. You know what I mean? It's the exact same. Like, hey, we need you guys to clear out of Jabalia. We need you to clear out of Khan Yunis. We need you to clear out of Rafah. We need you to clear out of these places. It's basically the exact same thing that was happening here when they were coming in trying to break the siege. But here they're saying, oh, you see, you went and ethnically cleansed them. You ethnically cleansed them. No, and it was specific villages, it was specific towns that they were going and doing this. But this is before Deir Yassin and Tantura and Lid and all these other places that they claim all these atrocities happen and the Zionists were coming in unaliving them and all this other bullshit. Yeah, look at this. Yeah. Yeah. In 12 days following the United Nations partition plan, 79 Jews were unalived by Arabs throughout Palestine. 79 in a matter of like a week or two. Because of there's just continuous ambushings and attacks on us. So this is nothing new. Yeah, it's nothing new. But I am gonna have to bounce. But yo, Fax, thanks for having me, bro.
That was great, man. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
No problem. No, that's fine, dude. If anything, we should be talking about this more, bro. We don't talk about Palestinianism, bro. We don't talk about how prevalent they are in terms of exporting terrorism and like not just like actual terror, but like the ideology and that creates the foundation and the frameworks for groups like ISIS and Al Qaeda and everything. Bro, I haven't even got to, dude. I have so much other stuff to show you, but I'll say that for another line. And also, we need to keep talking what happened in Lebanon. Lebanon is also like very important in this, bro, because I see a lot of these Lebanese Christians that like to bootlick for the Palestinians, bro, and I just find it really hilarious when they do that.
Yeah, it's happening a lot. Even the younger, I think maybe Gen Z, Kurdish, are also doing the same thing.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But
I
anyways,
want,
guys,
I want, Sigi, you asked about the Grand Mufti. After the World War II, he lost his influence because he was kind of sided and muted by the King of Jordan, Talal bin Abdullah, the father of King Hussein. And after that, that's it. He wanted actually to get back to his position to Jerusalem, but the Waqf, the Ministry of Endowment of Jordan, which is back then in charge of the Dome of the Rock and the Aqsa Mosque, they didn't let him in, and that's it. And I guess he's somewhere, just nobody paid attention to him anymore. But he never got back exactly to his duty as the Grand Mufti, and he died actually, and I mean almost like unheard of. Yes, exactly. They don't want to have anything to do with him because the world has moved on and the Arab culture has moved on. Jordan has moved on. Everything, and Egypt can plays its card here and there, but in the meantime, they said, "Hey, listen, we don't want this guy. Probably he's just It's just a bad business anyway. It's yeah, he died like in a very he lived like he's so almost unheard of, unknown. You know, when he was the man of power, he traveled the world, and he was actually the representative of the third holy site of Islam at that time. But yeah, that's life.
No, no.
No.
Interesting. Well, yes, they love it. These people, they love it. This mustache man, and they love it. Ayatsi, you know. You can find many Pakistani accounts on Instagram with this kind of mustache man, you know, praising him like a god, you know. And it's funny, they call us Yahtzee.
You know, for years, we've been fighting this sect called the Muslim Brotherhoods, and it's everywhere. I mean, it's banned in UAE, in many places. Algeria fought them for like a whole decade in the 90s. I don't understand how they can operate legally in the EU and the United States and Canada and all this Western country. They're not even there's I don't if US and EU ban them and categorize them as a as a T institution, I mean, which they are, I think the Hamas problem could be solved. It could be solved. I mean, I think it will be a domino effect. For example, all these institutions, like for example, CARE in the U.S., they're based in Capitol Hill, but they are banned in Morocco. They're banned in the UAE. Most of their members are arrested in Saudi Arabia because MBS doesn't tolerate them at all. MBS will chase them anywhere. He'll send a death squad anywhere. Even one of them, Khashoggi, he was one of them. He was one of the mouthpiece of the Muslim Brotherhood himself. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think what people should do is lobby these Western democratic government and just and make these people just and ban them completely or
Joseph,
arrest them, whatever. Hmm?
you're absolutely correct, and I don't know why they're not banned. But even not but I'm just going to say and in addition to them not being banned, a lot of these shadow organizations are working under the guise of an NGO, and that's problematic. You have to dig really far to find
Yeah,
those connections. We have a huge problem in America.
I think they're propped up by, It's like George Soros, a lot of communist, socialist groups, and protected by LGBTQ communities. This is why. This
I would go right back to Qatar as well. But no, both of you are right.
Yeah. Well,
Qatar.
they're all connected, right? They're all connected. They all have a same agenda when it comes to Israel and is spreading their socialism and perverted ideologies, right? But in the end, if they were to even get their way, these people will all eat each other.
And also they have a lot of sympathizers in also in the Western country, also in a Muslim country, and they get donation and help, and also there's another party here in the here in Europe. It's called Hizb ut-Tahrir. It was founded by a Palestinian guy, I think, back in the early 50s. Its aim is to make the entire which they call the Muslim Ummah, the Muslim nation, a caliphate. And actually, and they will not do it peacefully. They actually they want to resort to violence, and their flags is very similar to the Taliban flags. And they operate. They are here in Denmark. Once in a while, they have demonstration. Most of their women they wear niqab, completely covered, ninja style, letterboxes. I mean, it's and I don't understand. They're still operating here, and they saying they're using the word jihad. This we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that in the future. We're gonna wage jihad. I mean, I'm thinking, well, what are you guys doing? I mean, I can when I hear them in Arabic, I'm like, oh, holy shit. And this is if you Google Hizb ut-Tahrir Denmark Copenhagen, you'll see this demonstration. They have them almost like every like 2 or 3 times a year in a big scale. In a big scale.
I seen it. They even put signs. You saw they saying we are all Palestinian. Exactly what you're saying. They want to establish caliphate. And they're using these words. We are all Palestinian. It's one mission. It's one mission for their caliphate. This is what Palestinian means.
They found a cause that is working, and so they're going to push it much further.
Yeah, well, this is what I tell Muslims. Your religion, your whole identity has been hijacked by this fake Palestinian cause, and you guys want to be prostitutes to this. It's going to be your downfall.
Are you both pro Israel?
Of course.
You, yeah, they are. I
Yes.
was I was
I'm,
wondering.
I'm Jewish.
Hello,
Yes, I'm Jewish. I'm Jewish.
hello, Kebab.
Yes.
So that's wonderful. I have a question. I don't want to take it too far, if that's okay, Fax. So I'm struggling on bridging the gap between people understanding that what's happening in the UK, because they're finally speaking about the Islamists takeover, and the fact that Israel is surrounded by the exact same ideology. Like, I'm trying to bridge that gap to have people understand it. What am I missing? How can I help them?
Well, I think the problem is if you're going to force their hand, they're going to go against you. And we've been doing this for too long. I think my personal view is, like these people doing, you give them enough room, they're going to pretty much fuck themselves, right? But what can we do? What can we do as Jews and people who are against this radical Islamist militant ideology? You have to first of all be strong, stand up for yourself, and only speak the truth. But pushing somebody else's, forcing them to think like you, I think this is where they start getting, they don't
No,
trust.
I'm not trying to push them. I'm trying to explain to them. They seem to have a blind spot in the UK, and I'm trying to bridge that gap. I'm not Jewish either.
Mhm.
So I want to have, yes, sir. You know, I'm on a mission. Always facts. I follow my heart. Oh,
Yes.
I know. And we lost Charlie Kirk too, so I'm sorry to interrupt. Continue.
You know, I give it.
I always worry about Tommy Robinson. I mean, he doesn't get the same fate as Charlie Kirk because I always feel the Brits, they always try to put him away. If he wasn't to Elon Musk actually paying for his legal fees, he would have probably, they will probably, the Starmer administration would have probably, they would have got rid of him. But the thing is, he's getting like, Elon Musk is really behind him. He's paying all his court bills and everything. And that keeps him. And also, he was Elon Musk. He was actually bent for. If it wasn't to Elon Musk with his X things, I mean, we would have never heard of Tommy Robinson.
Yes.
That's
This is on his YouTube channel. You said he interviewed this guy. Oh, nice. I will watch it.
one of his interview before he went to Israel. He had it with this channel called Radio France. It's a leftist channel in France, and this French journalist. I mean, she calls herself an expert on terrorism and this and that, and she's there right there. Oh my goodness! I enjoyed it actually. It was entertaining how Tommy Robinson's like she almost like she didn't know anything. She was like the expert. I mean, journalist and all the tea things. She never read the Quran. She never, which he got her on that one. She doesn't know anything about the book. She doesn't know about it, and she went there only to smear Tommy Robinson. But the interview really never took off anyway. Tommy Robinson filmed it himself with his own phone, just to protect himself. You guys can Google that. Tommy Robinson, Radio France.
I give him a lot of respect because, like you said, they tried to smear his name. They tried to make him look like far right. It took him a long time to kind of
Yes.
shed this identity. You know what I mean?
Yes, that's what that the French journalist was trying to do. She
Yeah.
told him. She said, "Well, I think you are." He asked her, "You think I'm far right?" And she said, "Yes, you are far right." And they're like, "Okay." Well, then, I mean, she had no clue. You know what? A lot of time people who calls themselves experts, and especially from the left or the libs, I despise them. I despise the fucking libs and. I mean, I used to be myself. I used to be a liberal, man, for years, man. And now I'm just like, this is it. I'm not a liberal anymore, man. I used to vote for the green ticket. I was a member of the Green Party, man. It's like, but oh my goodness, I can't believe, man. If I
I
knew,
yeah, yeah.
and he's not. I know he's not. In my heart, he's not. I can see he's not, but too bad. But the problem in Britain now they have what's known as the two tiers system. I think they're gonna make it into a law soon. That means you could criticize the Pope or the King. Maybe you'll just get probably scolded at. But if you criticize Islam, or for example, if you say the grooming phenomenon is actually done by the Pakistani, that can probably land you in legal trouble. Or perhaps certain comment actually got people arrested, and some of them actually served some time in prison. And that's what happened. The two-tier law, you can Google that it's in the UK.
Yeah, you know. Yes, Ted Cruz, long time trying to do this, so it's good to see he has some people behind him.
I hope so, but remember, they are so ingrained in American politics since the early 50s. If you Google Eisenhower and the Muslim Brotherhood, you're gonna see a man, I mean, standing with him at the Oval Office. His name is Saeed Ramadan. He's actually the son-in-law of the founder of Hassan al-Banna, the Muslim Brotherhood. Just Google Eisenhower and Saeed and Eisenhower and the Muslim Brotherhood, and the picture will speak for itself. And definitely, we can discuss that another time. Kebab, you're Assyrian, isn't it? You said something about Assyria or something.
No, I'm mountain Jewish from Chechnya.
Chechnya, okay, because I heard you were speaking about Assyria, Ashur, yeah.
No, I was asking. No, I'm mountain Jewish from Chechnya. We have it from Chechnya, Dagestan, and Azerbaijan people, Jewish people coming from there. This is where I'm from. Facts. You speak Juri? Ali? Oh, Tanustani too. Ghuba. John Jigar Ghuba. John Jigar. It's beautiful, beautiful. It's good to hear this language from from all my people, because this is dying language.
And also Saeed Ramadan, he's actually the father of Tariq Ramadan. Tariq Ramadan was this French Swiss scholar. He was almost on every debate on TV. I mean, he was actually the mouthpiece of the Muslim Brotherhood here in Europe. During George Bush, when George Bush was in power, he didn't let him in. George Bush didn't let him in at all to enter the U.S. And then Mr. Obama comes to power. Then Mr. Obama opened up the door for him. Then eventually they got him on because he was raping women, in France, and then he spent some time in jail. But he's still actually relevant. Tariq Ramadan. I mean, he wrote some of his books. They're big sellers here in the French speaking world. 53, yeah. Yes, and also you move forward to 1956 when the war started between Israel, France, and Britain because against Jamal Abdel Nasser, because the cause was he was trying to nationalize the Suez Canal, whatever. You know how the war was stopped? It was stopped with a phone call from Eisenhower, because Eisenhower was not informed properly enough about the motives of this, And I think the French took it personally. Eventually, I guess they had to put a pause from NATO. The British, they just moved on with their life, and Israel, they just went back, and then the problem was never solved. That 1956 I always it could be. This is just my mind, just digging. It could be something Eisenhower sympathized with, with the Egyptian, or and that could be also the presence of these of the Saeed Ramadan at that time. That's the, but only only knows, nobody knows.
Yeah, that's I never knew this. It's CIA backed this Muslim Brotherhood. It's crazy.
CIA was.
That was the opposition to communism, the Muslim Brotherhood?
It could be, and also true because they were afraid that Egypt also, they were trying to keep some kind of counter, a counter to Gamal Abdel Nasser, because Gamal Abdel Nasser was also courting the Soviets. And
Yes,
they
yes.
didn't want Egypt to become another Iran, because one of the first function of the CIA when it was just conceived, they overthrow that guy from the Mohammed Mossadegh in Iran, and that's and then after that they figure. I mean, they were just at that time. I don't know if they knew what they were doing. If they knew then what they know now, probably they would have never done it. But I guess what we're doing, we as our generation today, we're just actually what we're doing. We're just picking up garbage. That's all we're doing.
Yes,
I mean, shit happened long time ago, and I guess they set very bad decision on foreign policy, and I guess they didn't think that this is. But now they have to ban the Muslim Brotherhood. They
yeah,
have to ban it.
no, you're right. This is with Cold War. This is with Russia. It's same reason Russia thought Israel is going to be, another communist, and when they didn't become this, they created fake Palestinian identity to undermine US of A. It makes sense. We are picking up all garbage. It's perfect word.
Yeah, I never looked into, but I knew the Muslim Brotherhood because they were my teacher. My teachers when I was growing up in Morocco, they were my Arabic teacher. They were all over because what was the policy that the old king did? He needed, because at that time they had a policy to Arabize Morocco. Because I myself, I grew up a Francophile. I didn't start to learn Arabic until I was in the seventh grade, and then they figure, okay, let's just Arabize these people. That was the goal. But in the meantime, when they brought in this teacher from the Middle East, most of them were school teachers. Most of them were actually Muslim Brotherhoods. The founder of the Muslim Brotherhood, Hassan al-Banna, was a school teacher. The founder of Hamas was a school teacher. A lot of them were Ismail Haniya himself was also a school teacher. A lot of them are school teacher. Where do you find the Muslim Brotherhood? You find them in schools or academia. A lot of them. They are actually, and most of them, they study history. They are a student of history or literature. A lot of them. Some of them are they go to the medical field. Like for example, the founder of Al Qaeda, Ayman al-Zawahiri. He was a medical doctor. But if you look at everyone record what they did before they got into to become the jihadists, they worked either they were Mohammed al-Morsi in Egypt was also university professor, you know. Then Sayyid Qutb also was also he studied. Sayyid Qutb, this guy who Nathan was talking about, he studied in the U.S. He was actually if I remember right, he was in Colorado, something like that. That was years ago. I read. Say also Muhammad Morsi. Also, he studied also in the U.S. A lot of them studied in the U.S. Man. They were actually, and this happened from after 53. 53, Saeed Ramadan, then comes Sayyid Qutb, and then Abdul Azzam, and on and on. And that's it. You know, it's like, yeah, if you start reading about it, man, just buckle up, man, because like shit, your mind was like, what the F? How can, it's easy to shut off this thing. It's easy just to
Yes.
shut it down. It's easy, man. It's real easy. But I don't understand what stops either our politician are becoming pussycats, or they just don't want to do anything. Just stop these people. They are teased. You know, we've been screaming for years. MBZ in the UAE did it, and MBS in Saudi Arabia did it. They did it like it's a snap of a finger. He puts them all away, and then he chased them. Khashoggi, I mean, it's atrocious. I mean, the way he did it, that's really, I mean, I'm not saying that I condone it, but this is it. You don't see them criticizing Saudi Arabia anymore. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and if okay, CARE, kebab, you know, that is, it's known as the Council on American Islamic Relation.
Yes.
It's an
Yes. Yes.
organ, yeah, okay. You know, they, every time Hollywood wants to make a movie regarding Islam, Muslim, or something, they are actually, they consult Hollywood, all because this CARE organization started because of a movie. It was done by Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's called True Lies.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because of that, True Lies, you know what I mean? But they just used it as a pretext. I mean, nobody really, True Lies was a flop anyway. I mean,
They
I'm
didn't
not
like
a,
this movie.
huh?
They didn't like. They didn't like how they were portrayed in this movie. I
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
my
but
father
yeah,
talking about
yeah,
this.
it was just a movie. It was a funny movie, man. It was nothing
Yes.
special about it. I'm not even a big fan. I mean, I don't take Arnold Schwarzenegger seriously anyway. But it was just a funny movie. But the thing is, yeah, that's how they used it, and now they consult Hollywood. I mean, shit, man. Damn, if you make a movie without you consult. And when Hollywood makes a movie, yes, Care is actually, you see them on the credit. They are consulting. It's a pretext, you know. Yeah, that means the Muslim Brotherhood actually, yeah, they have their fingers on everything, and that's how they manage. They learned the tactique how to influence these useful idiots. And you have all these useful idiots, gay for Gaza, this for this for that, and I'm like, gay for Gaza, for God's sake, man! You're lucky there's not enough tall buildings anymore in Gaza, because these guys will throw you out. That's what they will have done.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And that high quality prostitute Greta also. Greta. Well, they're going to eat what they vote for. You know, they're going to vote for this хуйдани, блядь. Okay, they're going to get it. You know, when you I know, I understand. You know, I know, brother. I understand, but what happened when this, it's like when you drink too much, you drink, eventually you're going to throw up, блядь. This is what's going to happen. Unfortunately, this is going to happen in New York, and I cannot even believe it. But
So, what are your actual thoughts on it? I'm sorry to interrupt. What are your actual thoughts on it on the ground in New York? What do you hear? What are you hearing? Anyone? Facts. I'm going to ask you a question. We see all these polls. I always look at my friends and say, who the heck is taking these polls? I've never been asked for a poll. I'm just saying. I'm not sure, but I've never been offered a poll.
is that yeah, that's what everybody's saying? You're saying on the street, everybody's saying not going to vote Mamdani. Mhm. Yeah, I seen some videos about Muslims against Mamdani because of the whole prostitution he's trying to legalize or something like that. Oh yes, yeah. No, no, it was a Cuomo commercial, something like this. Yeah, they were saying that they were going to vote for Cuomo, but is it true? Yeah, yeah. Listen, we know it's lots of Jewish people voting for Mamdani. Me and you both know this.
Really?
Yeah, yes,
Really?
yes,
No.
yes. Many, especially people who consider themselves reform or whatever. You know, it's unfortunately. Um, but is it true that people saying if Curtis bows out, Cuomo's going to get more votes? Good. Mhm. No, it's good that we called them out. It's very good. It's about time, man. It's enough already. It's enough. Mhm. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, same me, same with me, man. I hated politics when I was younger, but it's like you said, you have to because there's a big threat for us, especially Jewish. You know.
I also hate politics. I hate it.
Yeah, even when I don't even on street, with people, I associate with so many different people, religion. I do not talk politics with people, you know. I even, it's there's so much more for me to do, especially if I'm doing business with somebody. But unfortunately, in my mind, it's all I think about, especially now. There's so much threat coming towards us. You have to be strong in all positions.
It's funny. Sorry, go ahead. I was just gonna say, like, when people start talking politics, like, you can be an ally on certain things, and then they start talking politics, and then they disagree with your politics, and then all of a sudden you look at them differently, and you can't stop.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to know anybody's politics.
Right,
I
right.
don't. I tell them. I tell all the time, even in workplace business. I said, "Fuck, I don't even want to hear your fucking like. Take your politics and get fucking out of here with that." It's if it doesn't have to do with what we're dealing with today. I'm not gonna say what business I'm in. Then keep it. Go talk to your wife, блядь.
Yeah, let's definitely align on what we agree on, but no need to segregate us on politics. It's just crazy. Like, I've heard comments, and I can't look away from what I already know or heard. It's
Well,
just like it's like the people that support Israel, and then they start talking about politics, and then everyone starts to get into a big argument. And I'm like, it's so divisive. So stop.
mm, it makes people. I listen. I went to one wedding. My friend's sister. He's Iranian Persian. He's with big fist fight outside. Just for politics. These people, fighting in wedding, it's just for politics. It's stupid.
No, no, sir, I do not.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Was it you disagreed on politics? Is that what you're saying? Exactly. It's so right. That's what I said. You can't. It's like once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's an emotional thing for a lot of, like for the left, it's extremely emotional. Well, actually, for both sides, because well, America specifically has been just left or right. I would love to see a third party. It's never happened, but interestingly enough, like I said, you just can't unsee it because it's so deeply ingrained. Like they have invested emotions, thoughts, convictions into that one party, and it's problematic. Well, I mean,
No.
I think that it just needs to be a brand new party.
Well,
I think I think it would be ideal to happen like soon. Um, a more of a centrist. It should be called something else because both sides have gone so far left and so far right that if someone is looking for a middle ground, it would probably be best now. But for me, I vote with my heart. Again, emotions. I vote with my heart, and it depends on the climate of the country. Like I'm super conservative, but there was no.
yes, yes. Well, I think the left of today is not the same left like in the 60s, 70s. You know, these liberals is it's completely different. I think some of them even get shocked. You know, the old liberals, old left, they get shocked at what they see coming from the left. You know what I mean?
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, you're exactly on point. I mean, I mean, think of the last two elections. They went so far left, they got pushed right.
Well,
When you go too far right, you get pushed left.
yeah, like this is not like JFK. Even I can say Bill Clinton. I think when this Barack Obama came in and he started with this identity politics, was disgusting. I think this was the biggest change for US of A. It was a big problem, and these problems are still here.
Yes, he was the crux of he was the beginning of the end. Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. And he and I when I first saw him bow down to King of Saudi Arabia, and I knew this is problem. This is going to lead to the weakness, showing weakness of USAVA, and this is one he want to make this more normal. And I think this was the first week he got elected, if I'm not mistaken. He went to Saudi Arabia and bowed down to the king and saying this is bowing. No, this is not bowing. You gave him that. Yeah, yeah. They said, yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. That's how stupid these people are. Look how he shake Putin's hand, блядь. You know, this guy pulling Putin. You know, like he's like, you know, like puppet. You know, is they go so low. It's crazy. And like I said, this is not the left. This is not like the liberals, the left from 1960s, like JFK time. This there's so many people, especially you know, boomers. They voting for you know, the left Democrat. They don't even know who they're voting for. They only vote because this is Democrat. You know, they think it's like the old Democrat. You know. Yeah, but you know, but you have these older people that they still think it's the same party. You know, and I talk to them, and you know, and you know, they'll tell you, you know, when they come to USAV, you know, I speak to, you know, Greek, you know, all the Greek people, Macedonian, you know, they'll older, they will vote for Democrat because how, you know, they got treated by, you know, so to speak, people who were Republican back in the day when they came to country, and they have the same mindset, you know. Mm. Yes. This is perfect example. Yes, Bill Mayer, he's like the old liberal, old Democrat, leftist. You know, exactly all his talking points and everything, and he can sit and talk with anybody, right? And not you know, go crazy and call someone Yahtzee like these people all doing now. They can't even have a conversation. They have no dialogue, screaming in your face. You know. I don't know what to say. These people.
Bob, you're so right. They're basically morally and ideologically like bankrupt. Hey everyone. Hi Fax. Hi Siggy.
Hello,
I
Angel.
hope you're all good. You know what, Fax? It was funny what you said. It made me think of something about Trump. Did you hear recently when Russia was bragging about, you know, their capabilities? And did you hear when Trump said, "Oh, well, you know, we don't need to be able to do this because we have like nuclear submarines right off your coast." No, no, he is like such a gangster. Like people, he really is.
Yeah, it's not only that other countries have forgotten, America has forgotten.
Trust
He's a
me, all these European country, you know, they like to talk shit. All these countries all around the world, they all want a Trump. All of them want Trump. They all want a leader like this. They can cry all day, and you can, but they all want their leader to be strong like this.
Yeah, I'm feeling really grateful right now. I don't know who we have who could do it better. He's really putting these people in their place.
Thank
I'm
God we have 3 more years. Well, they're pushing. Who's this guy? What's this guy's name again in California? The governor.
Do you mean the governor?
Gavin
Yeah,
Newsom.
Gavin
Newsom.
Newsom, or who? Maybe Michelle Obama. Who knows, man? Who knows what that's gonna bring for this prostitute kids, блядь?
I think they're doing Kamala again, right? They're gonna go with Kamala again, or she wants to go again, right?
I wish they put Kabbalah again. This
I think she said she's not done. I think she wants to try again.
very good. Good. Try again. Keep it coming. No problem. It's good. Absolutely. Right now she's training. She's getting ready. But 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 it works though. It works. But
Look,
look
look what
Charlie. Look
to
Charlie Kirk.
Charlie. Yes,
Look at Charlie
Bob, I
Kirk.
was thinking Charlie. Look what they did to him.
You know. This, oh yeah. Absolutely. And this is grassroots movement. You know. This man went and talking people face to face, something nobody did. How much information, how much knowledge he gained. You know, it's how much time he put in. This man was unbelievable. And no, you can. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. That's what I mean. Who watches mainstream media is you know young people. You know, it's not really. It's more like Twitter or you know TikTok and. But look what Charlie did, you know, for the young people. He brought people out, women, especially the women, you know, young women in school is wearing, you know, MAGA hats. You know, is he created, hopefully, more Charlie Kirk. This message spread a lot for, you know, next generation, young people, young new leaders, new leadership. All the work he put in it was for something good.
Of course, look, these are uncomfortable conversations most people don't want to have, and but there's no way to come to a common ground and a solution if, people like Charlie Kirk aren't having these difficult conversations. It's important.
No, no,
Yeah,
it will happen.
about Matt. I knew you were talking about Matt. He's really smart.
Yes.
Yeah, I
There's
agree.
another guy who's exposing. What's this guy's name? He going to the protests, and he is this the same guy, Matt Green? Something he is showing how these protesters have all been paid, and he catching them all across the country. You see this guy? I think he's Jewish, Greenberg or something. Yeah, fuck this guy. What kind of work this guy does? One man, he's fucking beautiful, young guy too, man. Yeah, they see him, they see him. But he has a good head on his shoulders. I'm sure he has something else, you know. And that only comes because of you have the way Israel's been dealing with it with strength and not stopping. And like I said, they said what happened. They always ask what happened before October 7th, and I tell them what happened after October 7th, October 8th. We were scraping the age group infiltrators off the asphalt, and that's exactly what we're gonna keep doing. And it's if you showing strength, you're not gonna stop. This is when you get respect and followers, and people only respect you showing strength. You know, it's either you're going to respect or fear, and you can take your choice. Mm, yes. That's- yeah. Mm. Look at Look at the work they're doing with Morocco now. These a lot of these Arabs don't know. Israel and Morocco working very well together for future of food, water, all these things working together. You know. And, mm, yeah, oil money, oil power is not going to be for long. So, and these Arabs know this. They have to make transition, and when they saying you're choosing the wrong side, I think they have to really think about the future, because Israel not going nowhere.
I think didn't they just get a new big deal for the chips? The smart chips now too, like a new deal. It was huge. I think it was this month. Nvidia, yep. Yeah, that's huge. Yeah, I know. It's
Alhamdulillah.
crazy. Yeah, alhamdulillah. La la la.
Yeah.
Wow. That's actually I would I would say Canada needs to step it up, especially the government. I know. I know. Like, look, I've heard. I know. Their leaders basically. Macron's telling them just put all your valuables at the front door and don't make it difficult for them if they come, to your house. Just give them everything you have. Like if someone wants to come try to rob you or something. No,
That's what
it's
it
sick.
is. Everybody
I
got
hope they come back.
in his pockets.
That's awful. Man, I don't.
I said everybody, like you said, they're all coming for everything in Canada's pockets. Canada's emptying their pockets for everybody, especially all the Pakistanski immigration they're doing right now. It's destroying their country. Real estate, people cannot even find a home to sleep. The homeless went up like over 200%. And this is country with many resources and not don't know how to use it, don't have an infrastructure for all the resources, and it's embarrassment what happened when they voted in this Justin Trudeau. Okay, it's is it comes in like friend for everybody, but this is high quality communist. He even during COVID he shut people's banks. He sees money, shut people's bank accounts. Even Romania's laughing at Canada. One time best country in the world. Unbelievable what this government did to these people in less than 10 years.
Isn't he
Imam,
something else?
Imam is number one. I
I
watched his
read
video.
somewhere.
It was so
Oh,
funny.
I'm sorry, Kabab.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, it's kind of random, but you guys, it was in the news today. I'm getting ready to take the little ones to do some events, for trick or treating and stuff. I was reading in the news that there was a planned tea attack, in Michigan. And guess where? In, guess where in Michigan, facts. Where do you think in Michigan they were planning a tea attack? Dearborn. Of course.
But Dearborn is all these people.
Children.
Who are they
They were
doing
gonna come for children.
for a
I'm
disgusting?
serious. And there was multiple people. They didn't put out any names, but there was multiple people, and they found it was a really bad tea attack they were planning. Luckily, they stopped it.
I've got eyes on it. Thank you, Cassie. Would you like me to share?
Of course.
Okay. She just told us. So it hit the news about 1:25 p.m. Eastern time. Potential tea attack thwarted in Michigan. 5 people arrested. 5 people between the ages of 16 and 20 were arrested on Friday. Here we go. I'm jumping forward. They were inspired by a former member of the Michigan Army National Guard, who was arrested in May. for allegedly planning an ISIS-inspired attack against the Army site in suburban Detroit. One or more members of the group of the 5 people arrested Friday may have known Saeed. The plot, however, was not well formed, and they're monitoring. Through swift action, blah, 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 they have taken care of it. So Michigan says, hope you have a safe and happy Halloween. I'm going out in my burqa, so that's how I'm trick-or-treating.
Yeah, right.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I guarantee this is Pakistani.
Yeah, I'm sure they feel really safe now. I think it was trick-or-treaters, facts. I think it was just people going out for events.
It doesn't quite say on this site, but they were between the ages of 16 and 20, so I would suspect that's what they were doing.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, some Christians believe it's a pagan holiday too. We're just not running around screaming, praise the Lord, boom, boom.
Oh yeah, look, I'm a Christian, and I grew up in a Christian school, and I was one of the only kids that did participate in those events like Halloween, but it was looked down on, but I didn't feel unsafe because I did that.
No, not at all. It originated from the Irish, and in America, it's just commercialized. We don't
Yeah,
consider it religious at all.
it's just like an American.
Well, it goes all the way back to the Irish. The Irish started it, and it was pseudo-pagan. But for us, I mean, when little Barbie comes to my door, I'm gonna give her candy.
Well, yeah, that's it. My kids were Christian, but they see people having fun, and they just want to have fun and dress up too. That's
I
all.
think that's what it is. It's a holiday for kids now. It's kind of changed to. I understand the root is pagan, but you know I Jewish. Okay, I still take my daughters trick or treat. They love it. It's fun. You know? Yes, it's like yes. If it wasn't for Torah or Bible, they would still be kissing the feet of statues. They wouldn't even know what Alhamdulillah is if it wasn't for Torah. Okay, so they can. And another thing they're trying to do, they saying, "Oh, don't blow candles, don't sing Happy Birthday, this pagan," Then yeah, that's what they're doing. This is new thing they're doing. Going to Santa Claus, screaming at children in their faces. Jesus was Palestinian. I don't know if you see these videos. They go to, all over the USA and Canada, screaming at children and sitting on Santa Claus. You know, and another thing, they don't want national anthem in school.
You're right, Kebab. Remember last year they canceled Easter, like England or something. Like they wouldn't let the kids celebrate Easter at like one of the schools or something in England.
Yeah. What kind of person screams at children? What kind
Yeah,
of woman scream at children? Is making children cry, sitting on Santa Claus. These people, like I said, you give them room, they're going to destroy each other.
You guys, I know this is random, but it's really on my mind today, and I just have to say, like, all these voices we hear that are, blaming Israel, like, whatever, but they're crying G-side, this and that. But like after reading what happened in Sudan today, why am I not seeing these people doing lives crying about these people? Like, you
Well,
guys saw what happened in Sudan?
yeah,
There were
well,
like
they don't
500
care.
people in a hospital.
They don't care. Even when ISIS was in Syria, I'll tell you what they were doing. They were taking images and videos from this war in Syria and telling people this is what's going on in Israel and Palestine. And this is their own people, This is what kind of prostitutes these people are. Okay, they don't care, you know and they cannot use images from Sudan because it's black people and say this is what's going on in Israel, Fakistan. You know what I mean. They don't care about this. This doesn't fit their ideology, narrative, political ideology. They do not care, just like they do not care that his age group destroying their own people when it's ceasefire. I
No,
didn't hear, I
because
didn't see one person on the street.
no, it won't fit their narrative. And these people that did this to the Sudanese people, they were Islamic, right? The rebel fighters.
Yes.
Yes, they were Christians being targeted.
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You look at Libya.
No, I thought it was Sudanese.
So
No,
There is
someone
a there is a slave trade in Libya. It-
someone was asking me, why is it that the Christians don't rise up and fight against that? We don't have Israel. We don't have a country like Israel. We have, I don't know how many denominations of Christianity, like, I don't know, over 100.
I looked, it's thousands. I couldn't believe it's actually
How
like.
many are there, Cassie? I read it last night and I just don't even remember at this point.
No, I was shocked because they consider even if you have a church of like 20 or 30 people, it could be its own. So
Own
there's like
denomination? Yeah.
us.
I mean, our core values line up and, our beliefs align, but there's always a little bit of, quite a little variation. But we don't have Israel. You guys have Israel. And that's the beauty of it all. And if it wasn't for the fact that people weren't attacking you all the time, there would not be a need for Israel. So God bless Israel.
Amen.
Right. Not necessarily a country. We're just not united in that way. And I think we all put down our crusader flags and our stallions and our swords long ago. I know the UK is rising and raising crusader flags, which I think is really beautiful. But, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to drive too far from the conversation. But what has happened, and Cassie, please feel free to correct me. What has happened is that a lot of Christians actually go, instead of going to a physical brick and mortar church, they actually do it online or watch it on, yeah, they do it online. So we don't have the need, because Christ and God is in our hearts. We don't have the need to congregate. It's not a requirement.
I
Versus
1,000%.
yeah,
A thousand.
just versus where they do gather and it's powerful. And so it left a vacuum. I was talking to someone in the UK. It's left a vacuum. So you can scream, they can scream all they want about Islam or Muslims taking over the churches, but the churches were kind of abandoned. So we left a vacuum, just like a coup.
I think Vicky got the hammer on the nail. Yeah, you know what? When I think about Look, when I think about what Siggy just said, like I'm a Christian, like most of the people in my life are all Christians, and no, we all don't feel that community. Like most of us don't go and attend church like every Sunday. She's right. We've lost our community, and it's very divided. You're so right, Max. Losing our values is what's weakened America. I agree.
Yes, and this is exactly what Islamists do, you know, and you can see this from most of the, the S-Vest bombers. It's mostly like people who have a mental disability, you know, or like don't have father at home, you know. It's they attack the vulnerable, you know. So when they see somebody with no moral, no integrity, right? This is what they go for, especially young men, right? And this is what's happening in UK. You know, they're giving out free Quran. All these Pakistanis giving out free Quran, you know, and catching people outside and talking to people. But it's I hope it's it's we have it spread the message, Charlie Kirk, because his religion is give you moral, good integrity, have a good family at home, have kids, good family values.
So this, go ahead, Cassie.
Oh no, Siggy, I want to hear you, please.
I was just going to say that this generation is known for their extreme empathy, and I mean that for the LGBT, all of it, just extreme empathy, which is fine, except the empathy is misguided. It's deranged sense of empathy, where they're only seeing, like, they think, if I bring it back to Israel, they think Israel is the big bad guy, where they're just the little tiny country. So the empathy is going towards what they consider the oppressed, um, and that's the generation we're dealing with. Like that, as well as the lack of actual congregation in churches. That's what we're dealing with in America. And my gosh, I hate when when you guys have to talk to a silly American, and I just want to get up on the panel and just scream, but I don't. I don't.
Bless you, Siggy.
Bless you.
You know, and another issue is that because the way the economy is here, like the parents are not raising their children. Look, I'm with my children all the time, but I have a lot of friends that they don't spend that much time with their children. And the schools are raising them, and the TVs are raising them. And look, have you noticed how many of these new movies they're trying to make like you feel bad for the bad guy? Like all these Maleficent and like Snow White. Like they're redoing all the Disney movies and making the kids like feel bad for the bad guy. Like Cruella. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's the deranged empathy I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, I have two young girls, right? And I don't know, it's not working on them. You know, they're not. You know, they watch it like old movies or young movies from '90s. You know, movies we grew up with. You know, 2000s. But this, you know, this like
Yes,
Snow
but
White and
Bob, you sound like a strong man, and it sounds like they have a strong father. So these children probably have strong values installed in them, good roots.
well, you know, I don't know. I don't know how it is. I see lots of strong fathers all around. You know. Um, I think I don't know. I agree with you that lots of they have empathy, LGBTQ, all this but I think this leftist their ideology and LGBTQ. I think they've gone so far that they have created a counterculture with young people, and because I come from a big family, maybe because I don't know, maybe because we're more conservative Jewish. Maybe I see it this way, but I have lots of cousins. I have huge family. These kids is not eating this garbage. They laugh at it.
That's because you instilled their core values. They're not weak-minded. They can't be just because somebody says so in school. They know at home that they're going to follow their father.
Yeah, but that's why I agree. I like what Charlie Kirk did because he put this message, of being strong man, being strong woman, having integrity, talking with people even though you don't agree with them, with some sort of compassion, but at the same time having your not to give up on your morals, right? So this is what I mean, like just that little bit of message, like from a person coming like Charlie Kirk. These kids can see the difference between perversion and and having integrity in life, right? I think these kids that have been fed this in school, all this LGBTQ, all this garbage, this Islamic Muslim Brotherhood ideology, it's very easily broken when you have somebody, obviously good strong father at home, strong mother, people like Charlie Kirk and people he influenced, so I see a counterculture coming, and I see this breaking, this perversion that they're teaching in public school right now. I take my daughter away from public school because there's so much garbage there. Uh, Funny story. I have a friend. His son, his teacher called him home because the teacher over here, the boy, say to his friend that LGBT is mental, mentally challenged people, something like this. And the teacher called my friend at home, and my friend is, he's crazy guy. And she tell your son is telling another child like LGBTQ is meant for mentally people, and he said to teacher, yeah, so it's okay. This is what I tell him at home. He laughed it, and He said, why these people call me at home? He take his son out from public school also. You know?
I want to add two things to that. I had a neighbor. This is very, I don't know. I'll just tell you the story. You guys can come to your own conclusion. They don't live here anymore, but I had a neighbor that had two children, a boy and a girl, visibly a boy and a girl. And I learned that the young boy would prefer to be a girl, and then all of a sudden the older girl would prefer to be a boy. So what happened there? Like, was that promoted? Because but when you're pushing for someone to question themselves at such a young age, their brain hasn't even developed yet. I don't know. I don't support that at all.
You know,
I know. I've heard about that. That is infuriates me. So facts. I mean, I did ballet, and I did ballet when I was younger, and but I also played a lot of sports. Never ever did I question myself. Not me. No, you wouldn't have been able to convince me. I'm not weak-minded.
yeah, well, this all comes down to how you raise its children, right? You know, like how my father raised us. You know, he just the way my father is, he didn't take anybody seriously, you know, unless you have a serious conversation, you know, and unless he had time to think about what people saying. This is the way my father is. This is the way we looked at my father. Even with rabbi, you know, we never, even Jewish people is have a sense of humor. We don't listen to every little thing everybody, even rabbi. We don't agree with everything our rabbis say, you know. We don't follow him like God. This is an example of teacher, right? And when you go to school, you don't you have to criticize, you have to ask questions, you have to be curious about other thing and be comfortable in your own skin. But this kind of thing where people tell you, you girl, you boy, this problem, I believe, starts in the home, in the home, in the child's home. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Yes. Yes.
But the ones that can afford it.
Well, yes, yes. Yeah, yeah, they were, and this is decision I made. You see some Hebrew schools, they were, they have it like I go inside the school and they have it like LGBTQ flag in Hebrew school, and and this I leave. I don't put my daughter in this, so it's factor for me, you know. But I didn't know I was like this. Maybe that they were forced. So it's good to know that this is not was a choice. Maybe because they were forced. Did he? Did he? Oh, he didn't save his child. He actually did the sex change. I thought. Oh, yeah, yeah.
This is not related to LGBT at all, but it's related to one of the points that we made earlier, facts and kebab. Um, I have friends that volunteer at Turning Point USA, and I had a couple that were there that day. Anyway, with that said, we were talking, and they were telling me about their university experience, and they're Christians. and it was very difficult for them to remain at university because it was almost as if that crowd that screams nonsense. They said to me that they were actually trying to almost take away their religion. Like, here, you don't need that Bible, take this instead. I just wanted to share that. Yeah. Just wanted to, no. It was the Islamists trying to take away their religion. And so, yeah, it was just an interesting comments that it was an interesting conversation for me.
Yeah, this is why they're giving out free Quran. They're making people do shahada. In 2 minutes, you can become Muslim. You know what I mean. They're very desperate for membership. Okay, unfortunately, this is going to be their downfall. Every day in Iran, every day in Malaysia, Indonesia, Turkey, people leaving Islam by the thousands. They are very desperate for membership in UK, in USA, in Australia, Canada. Well, that's because of African American. Yeah, he got banned from UK even. This guy know the Quran more than all Muslims. I'm telling you right now. This guy very smart guy, very smart guy.
Did you hear about what happened in Michigan at town council? Yeah.
What do you mean? What happened?
I could, I, well, I'll need to go look it up because I don't want to give bad facts. So 1 second. Oh, then you tell him.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Yeah, yeah. They want to call him Yahtzee. They want to call him racist. They're victims. Poor little baby. Oh, you sensitive baby. Yeah, I know. High quality prostitute. Of course. Crazy, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. Anyways, guys, Fox, thank you for letting me on panel. Siggy, thank you for talking and lots of information from you. And this guy Mosley, man, I wrote down lots of things this guy was talking. I couldn't keep up, but this guy, man, I love it.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yes, yes. So thank you, guys.
It was great meeting you.